Okay, our empirical investigation um, has a practical relevance in assessing the sustainability of the monetary union. We use equation 5, so the our shadow exchange rate, minimizing the loss function, and we use data, quarterly data, in the period 1980 2010 in order to estimate gamma, which is the elasticity or the aggregate demand or net exports or trade balance with respect to the real effective exchange rate epsilon it, as equation 9 shows. These all variable are in log in this equation, and this definition of trade balance is unit free and is insensitive to real or nominal definition of exports and imports. The real effective exchange rate has been obtained from international financial statistics or the International Monetary Fund, and this is if we have an increase in this real effective exchange rate, we have a real appreciation. If we have a decrease, we have a real depreciation. So our expectation is that gamma is negative, and this long-run relationship between the trade balance and the real effective exchange rate is a close substitute of the Marshall-Lerner condition. What is required is that gamma is negative and statistically significant in this equation in order to have an alternative test of the Marshall-Lerner condition. So this equation has been estimated by using the vector error correction model, and so we need to perform the ADF test, the augmented Dickey-Feuer test, on these two series, so the trade balance and the real effective exchange rate, and also the Johansen co-integration test in order to check if these two series are co-integrated. Then we can perform the Johansen, the vector error correction estimates in order to estimate the long run or the equilibrium relation between these two variables. And this is in the appendix of this first paper. Here we can see the ADF test, in which we cannot reject the hypothesis that the two term series have a unit root at level, but we can reject this hypothesis at first difference. This means that the two variables for each one of this country in our sample are integrated of order 1, which means that these two series reach sessionality when we consider first difference. In our sample, we consider Germany and France and the so-called PIIGS, so Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, and Spain. So after the augmented Dickey-Feuer test, we can perform the Johansen co-integration test in this way in order to check if the two variables are co-integrated. At this table, we can see the Johansen co-integration test at 5%, or using critical value at 5%. So after performed the Johansen co-integration test, we can estimate using vector error correction model the long-run relationship between the trade balance and the real effective exchange rate, and we get these negative parameters. So our gamma is can be obtained from the vector error correction model. Here we can see the standard error and the statistics, because in order to check if this parameter is significant, and this is a close substitute of the Marshall condition. Now we can so after estimating the coefficient gamma, we need also in our indicator an estimate or an assessment of the inflation aversion coefficient theta for each country in our sample, and this can be performed using a log scale for 1 to 100 and apply the log, and this means that the maximum inflation aversion coefficient is the log of 100, the minimum possible is the log of 1. This means that we, in order to rank countries according to their inflation aversion, we consider the CPI of these countries, the CPI, the change in CPI over a long period, in order to have a sort of ranking of these countries according to their anti-inflation reputation. The nominal fixed parities are the entry parities of each one of the country in the sample, and so, for instance, we can see here Italy, the Deutsche Mark, the Italian lira, and so on. Then we need some estimate of the output gap. We use the Audrey-Prescott filter in order to have an idea of the target of the government, the output target of the government, but using, for instance, estimates from International Monetary Fund, we get similar results. And so we can read this table in which we have the coefficient gamma of the elasticity of net exports with respect to the real effective exchange rate and the inflation aversion coefficient. So we can compute the index in our sample period starting from 1999 to 2011. We standardize this index in order to we identify an upper and lower bound equal to plus or minus 2 times the standard deviation of this index. What we can see in order to identify these episodes, what we can say is that after the financial crisis, we have faster recovery Germany, which shows a sort of sharp appreciation in 2011. But there is difference speed compared to what which is the parity in our index for Spain and Italy. Then we have France and Italy, then we have Spain and Ireland, which have a slow speed convergence. But what we see in 2011 is that this tends to go above the upper bound. This means that there is a huge loss in competitiveness in respect to Germany, which shows a real appreciation of its shadow exchange rate. Also, Portugal seems to have this huge loss in competitiveness in respect to Germany. What we can say is that if both Greece and Portugal should leave the monetary union, this should be could be a serious problem for the sustainability of the monetary union, because according to the probability of the effect on the probability of devaluation for other countries, for instance for Spain and Ireland, this could be a serious problem, and this could increase the probability that also other countries belonging to monetary union choose to leave the monetary union. So this means that the political institution, the European political institution, should show their will to sustain the common currency, because speculative attacks are possible and they can increase the cost of participating to the monetary union. So the situation, the, the European political institutions should decrease this cost of participating to the monetary union. And so we, in this paper, our conclusion is that we have to we need in Europe to reduce the austerity measure to make to make this consistent, this measure consistent with the existence and the survival of the monetary union.